So so today I'm gonna take you guys through what I do when I can't go to the gym, uh, or if I'm tired of the gym. But today it's the first reason. I have to work late tonight, so instead of taking a day off, I'm gonna do knees over toes stuff at home, or not at home, on this field. I'm gonna walk backwards for 10 sets and superset it with pull-ups. This is my second set. On the first set, the angle wasn't particularly great, and if there's a lot of wind in the audio, ah, I stepped in my, but there's a lot of wind, so bear with me if the audio is windy. So I'm just gonna do this for 10 sets where I walk backwards to half the field and then walk backwards back to the camera. Usually I would have gone all the way till the other end, but I'm not sure if the receiver can receive audio from that far. So I'm just sticking to halfway for now. It's windy, which is making it really cold, but it's also sunny, and I'm wearing black, so it helps. It's good to get regular movement in. So most of the time you're sitting in your car or sitting on your chair or sitting on a bench. Then you get up to go to the gym where you're walking on a machine, lifting on machines, or using equipment that's built evenly. But the real world is filled with grass, uneven terrain, uphills, downhills. So there are muscles in your feet that are used to bend and move with the surface of the floor that you're stepping on, and those don't get used on the treadmill because it's just flat. That doesn't get used on most surfaces. Like if you stay indoors all the time, then you're only stepping on marble floors or whatever, which is also flat, and you don't really use the muscles in your feet. Even if it's just for a walk outside, a regular walk, it's good to it's good to get out and do something in the real world and not just in the gym. There's a lot of adaptation that happens when working out outdoors that you don't necessarily get indoors. For example, indoor environments are temperature controlled, and so if it's cold outside, it's still warm inside, and so you never really get that feeling of working out when it's cold, or if you're in a hot place, working out when it's hot and sunny. And there are processes within the body that are in place to help navigate those situations, to keep your body warm when it's cold, but also warm enough to where you're performing some activity, or even temperature control to the point where you can sustain frigid temperatures with barely any insulation. Just through breath work. Each time I'm back, I'm doing a different kind of pull up or a variation. Uh, Again, this is kind of to keep myself from not doing too much of one maneuver or too straightforward of a movement. I just like throwing in ways in which, I mean, if you were to really think about it, on a pull up, you're just, pulling up on a straight bar. But let's say, but in the real world, where would those muscles come into play? It would be in something like rock climbing, where you have to hold on to stones or grips in an uneven manner and then pull yourself up. I think training evenly too often is a detriment, because a lot of the time, like as far as the surface of the floor, like if it was actual terrain, if it was climbing or whatnot, the forgot which hand. God damn. But the way in which your body would be utilized would be uneven. So there is something to be said for that, of training a little unevenly, so that in situations where your body, which is most of the time outside of the gym, if your body does have to move unevenly, it's not a movement that's foreign to you. I used to be a big critic of extremely strict form on everything, and often would make fun of people who did things what I perceive to be as incorrect. And there are obvious things that are wrong, for sure. But a lot of the time, it's my belief that every exercise and every variation of an exercise has its place for the corresponding goal. Like each goal might require a certain exercise. So if you're someone who's just looking for symmetry and doesn't really care about rock climbing, and you don't think you'll ever rock climb, and you're going to be inside all the time, then there's no point to doing all the things that I'm talking about. I think that was set 6, and we'll do 4 more of that. The shoes that I'm using right now are Zero HFSs, and I really love doing my outdoor workouts in them. If you notice, I don't know if it's visible, but the toes bend with each step. Most shoes, most modern shoes, don't allow for the toes to bend at each step, and also constricts the toes. Check out LeBron James' feet. They look crazy. It's from wearing basketball shoes all the time. His toes are like stacked on top of each other, and they look preposterous. Anyway, if you want to prevent stuff like that from happening, then get shoes with a wider toe box. My preferred brand is a Zero, and I think they've helped my feet a lot. So that's 10 sets. So 10 sets backward walking and 10 sets of 4 pull-ups, so that becomes 40 pull-ups. I'm going to do a slightly different exercise now. So as usual, or as in the previous exercise, I'm walking backwards till the halfway mark, and then I'm going to sprint back. And then immediately start walking backwards. So the sprint is going to get your heart rate going to a point where you can't, but don't let that stop you, and don't stop and rest. If you have to, walk backwards slower, but keep moving. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In fact, if you can do in and out through your nose, then do that. Many people stop jumping, stop running fast, might just go on jogs. There's explosive muscle fibers in your body to facilitate movements such as these, where you're exploding like sprints. And if you don't use them, they waste away. I think that was set 5. I'm gonna do 10 sets total, so another 5 more. Since walking backwards, doing all my mobility stuff and the knees over toes exercises, I've noticed a big improvement in the way I run and how comfortable I feel running and doing stuff like sprints. The way my feet land on the floor, especially with these shoes, the way the toes land first, and how that movement feels so much more natural and comfortable than with the regular shoe. Alright, that's it for that. Next, another movement that people don't do very often is move laterally. It's forcing the outer part of your leg to push on this side, while this side is planting and pulling this side in. So it's the abductor of the left leg and the adductor of the right leg. So I'm going to do one side one way and then the other side the other way. And when I get back, I'm going to do 5 toes to bar. Then back to lateral movement. So for the first couple of sets, I don't want to do it fast. I'm really trying to mentally connect with the muscles at work and make sure that I'm performing the movement as correctly and efficiently as possible. And then once I'm used to the motion slowly, I'll turn up the speed a little. I've also noticed that there seems to be something about moving your body through quote unquote natural movements in quote unquote natural environments that seem to I don't know, make, from a aesthetic standpoint, make my physique look better, and then also recruit my core muscles in ways that I can't really target them using machines and stuff at the gym. There is truly a lot of value in just using your body outdoors. It doesn't always have to involve weights or a bike. Yeah, or like playing sports where you have to jump, twist. It's good to have some form of that in your workout regimen so that your body not only gets strong muscularly but also from the the ability to use those muscles to do something. Alright, this time I'm gonna try to move sideways faster, so like sideways hop. Last set of this. Alright, time for the next one. So for the next exercise, I'm doing backwards walking downhill. When I do this, some of the biggest things I notice is my toes have to land first, and each time I have to like descend them slowly in order to walk down. The other thing is, if it's one of your first times doing it, then it takes quite a bit of effort to maintain balance. Once I'm down the hill, I'm going to walk backwards up the hill. The angle of the hill will cause a deeper knee bend, forcing your quads to be recruited more, and overall improving the amount of muscle recruitment and joint ability that you get from just regular backwards walking. So with regular backwards walking, you're exposing your with regular backwards walking, you're exposing yourself kind of like to a small angle at which your knee is bending. When you're walking backwards up the hill, your knee is at even greater angle. Think of it as the next level up. So once you're getting good at walking backwards on flat surface, try doing it backwards downhill and uphill. With walking backwards downhill, it seems more of an eccentric exercise. So each time you start in like the flexed position, and then you have to slowly relax your quads in order to get down. So where regular backward walking trains your legs a lot in the concentric, throwing in some backwards downhill, make sure you're getting a little bit of that eccentric as well. And plus it's a motion that is not otherwise trained very often. I'm gonna do one more set where I'm walking backwards and both ways. Then after that, I'm gonna start uphill sprints, and I'm going to do these combination of 4 that I like, and I'll show you what that's like as soon as I get back up the hill. There's something about the angle of the hill that forces me, or maybe it's the way in which I'm walking backwards, but that forces me to go off frame. Anyway, so that was 3 sets kind of to warm up. Now I'm going to go down front, run up, and then the backwards part. So walking forward forces you to, makes your quads recruited a lot. Again, forcing you to use the eccentric part, and you have to resist, otherwise you'll kind of roll forward. You're just walking down. Don't make it too complicated. I just like describing the muscles at work. And then sprint up. Then walk backwards, downhill. Then backwards, back up the hill. So that's one set. Walking down, running up, and back down, back up with backwards. I'm gonna do 10 sets of that. As I mentioned on the soccer field, so this is an inclined terrain, and it's not like walking incline on the treadmill. Your legs have to adapt to the little bumps in the grass, little holes, and there are a lot of muscles in the bottom of your feet responsible for being able to move those. If you don't train them, they end up leading to joint issues, joint issues and mobility problems, etc., etc., etc. So don't underestimate the value of doing something like this at least every once in a while. During the summers, I do it every time. When it's sunny, it allows me to get a tan, and also enjoy the weather while I'm working out. I walked down forwards that time, so I'm gonna do backwards and then run up. But anyway, what I was saying is, these are ways in which your body can move, utilizing muscles that otherwise don't get trained. Like, there's no toe stretch machine. There is no toe finger curls. So, yeah, do this kind of stuff. Or go hiking. Go hiking or something. But there's still gains you won't get by doing stuff like this from just regular hiking. I don't know if this is true, but I feel like trail runners seem to get a lot less injured than regular runners. But I could be wrong. But if you look at the workout routines of athletes, they throw in all kinds of stuff. Why not do some of that? I mean, you might not be an athlete, but most athletes are aesthetic too. Look really good. So if your argument is, oh, it's for bodybuilding or whatever, I don't get what you're saying, because a lot of good athletes who do this kind of stuff have really good physiques too. So anyone who has that argument, your point is moot. A lot of elite powerlifters like Chris Duffin, Ed Cohen, and others also speak about the value of throwing in sleds. Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell has talked about the improvements in squat from doing sled and movements such as the reverse hyper. So whether your goal is powerlifting or bodybuilding or whatever, there's benefits that you can't get from doing stuff like this. My phone battery is dying, and I have a few more things to record after this, so I'm gonna stop it for this set. I'm gonna get my remaining and then come back in. So in the beginning of the video I was talking about doing jumps, so I like to do jumps. It doesn't even have to be super high, just to get used to, or not get used to, if you're someone who never jumps, to utilize the motion. I don't have any specific rep count or kind of jumps. I just like to pick different kinds of jumps and do them. So what I mean by different kinds of jumps is, so like a rotating jump. So I don't even know all the muscles involved in having to rotate in midair and jump at the same time, land, catch your balance, land again. Again, if you're just doing the regular gym stuff, there's a lot of ability that you're leaving on the table. If your goal is being more mobile, more fit, it's not all about the way you look. It's also about how you can move. Another kind of movement that's explosive that I like to do is alternating side to side step ups, but with a bench. So you want to, with the leg that's jumping, try to get as high as possible. I'm gonna do a few hops. I'm not someone who hops very often. Plus, I did legs like for 4 days straight, so if these jumps look weak, forgive me. Another movement that's kind of overlooked is jumping laterally. My feet are getting muddy and these jumps are getting a little risky, so I'm going to move back to the alternating step ups for a bit. I gotta head back to work now, because I'm gonna finish my last exercise is gonna be rotating jumps. And that's that. So that's it for the outdoor part. It took me 90 minutes I'm going to head back to work, and then I'm going to do so I have to work at 8:30, so I get a small break after work. So I'm gonna after small break between my shift and then my 8:30 shift. So I'm gonna do some kettlebell stuff over there, and then so that'll be like an hour or two from now, and that's what's coming up next. So I'm gonna do 30 minutes of kettlebell stuff and some mobility stuff at home. I have a 35-pound kettlebell. I'm not going to show everything, but I'll record some exercises that I do at home with the stuff that I have. First exercise, alternating rows, bent knee or on your knees. I have a cable machine. Well, not a whole machine, just a cable setup at home. Maybe I'll make a future video about how to set up a home gym with minimal equipment or minimal money. But you can get pretty much a very good cable setup with a decent amount of weight. So I'm supersetting the rows with some mobility work. Now I'm going to do a glute stretch plus row. This set I'm only doing the rows or supersetting with the rows and no stretch. I'm also going to do good mornings. It's nice having one of the cables or having a cable at home to be able to get mobility work done. Anyway, that's all I think I'm going to record of this. I'm going to keep coming up with random exercises and doing them on the cable. And then also random exercises on the kettlebell and doing them. There's not going to be a whole lot of pattern to this. Maybe I'll make a future video about how to well, like what's the best bang for your buck to get set up like a home gym with like a cable and a kettlebell, and well, what is the fewest number of equipment and the least amount of money you need to spend to get something like this set up. So yeah, that's all for this video. See you all tomorrow.